Today we got to talk some women's basketball, and welcome back to the Unafraid Show. So we're diving deep into the numbers because the narratives and the noise surrounding women's college basketball, Caitlin Clark, and this Dave Portnoy tweet. You already know the tweet I'm talking about. Let me show it to you right now. So this was a hot button tweet, and it got me to respond to it. So he said, I'm going to need all the race baiters to explain Caitlin Clark's popularity simply because she's white, to explain why 10 million more people watched her last year than Paige Bueckers, who's also white. I'll hang up and listen. And this one to me was a lot more complicated. Well, actually, a lot more simple than a lot of people thought because initially people looked at this, and I could be wrong here, about Dave Portnoy. They were like, yo, well, this is just him talking about race and bait. I actually thought he asked a genuinely good question. So I am going to answer that question for you. Was Caitlin Clark just a racial phenomenon, or is there a deeper story behind her stardom? So y'all better buckle up because I got receipts and the context, well, in the context that Dave Portnoy actually left out. So let's start with this. Let's look at the ratings, right? So you had 2023 where you had LSU versus Iowa. That did an average of 9.9 million viewers on ESPN, and it peaked at 12.6 million viewers, which was the most watched college basketball, women's college basketball game ever at that point in time. Now, mind you, just a few years prior to that, ESPN signed the deal with women's college basketball to broadcast the tournament. So we've been always setting records all the time because it was one of those, if you build it, they will come. So then you had 2024. That was after the LSU Iowa with Angel Reese and the "You Can't See Me" thing. Oh, sorry, the ring me thing. Excuse me. After the "You Can't See Me" and all of that stuff that happened with, I believe, Louisville. So then 2024, you have South Carolina versus Iowa. 18.7 million viewers, over 24 million viewers, as we know, shattered records. And that was actually more than an NBA Finals game that year, which was crazy, doing numbers, right? So then this year you get South Carolina versus UConn. There's no Caitlin Clark, and you had around 13 million viewers per Nielsen and ESPN. And, that was a strong showing, but a lot fewer, over 5 million fewer than 2024. So, yes, the Caitlin Clark effect is undeniable, but there's actually a twist to this year's story that people are not talking about. And I do understand that Dave was specifically talking about Paige Bueckers versus Caitlin Clark. So, like, why weren't the ratings as strong? Yeah, I thought it was just because Caitlin Clark is white. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. First thing that you have to examine is Juju Watkins, because Juju Watkins is the Caitlin Clark this year. It's not Paige Bueckers. Juju Watkins was the most hyped, most watched, most entertaining women's college basketball player this year. Ankle breakers, fade away, uh, commercials everywhere. And then that matters. The sophomore at USC. She led the nation in scoring, 30 pieces like it was nothing. She got all the juice, charisma, commercials, Hollywood lights, killer instinct, everything. But here's the thing. Juju tore her ACL in the Elite Eight. So imagine if Juju Watkins was healthy. You would have potentially USC facing off against Don Staley and South Carolina in the championship game. Now, you don't think that game would have done 20 million plus viewers? Come on now, that's a blockbuster Bird versus Magic energy. So when we talk about ratings dropping off because of Caitlin Clark, we need to be real that all things are not created equal. And it wasn't just about race or Caitlin Clark being gone. It's also about the injury and the timing because we missed out on a superstar at a not traditional power in college basketball, USC, and the behemoth, the big bad wolf that is South Carolina. So then the next thing is, why did Caitlin Clark move the needle to begin with? It wasn't just because she was white. It was because of five reasons. Number one, Caitlin Clark plays fun basketball. She gives Steph Curry vibes. She got logo threes, no look passes. She didn't just score, she performed. And like you didn't just watch Caitlin Clark, you experienced her playing when you watched her. Then number two, she had uh, anti-villains. She had foils. It was real villains versus super teams. You had Angel Reese in LSU, that big energy and even bigger confidence. So she had a rival. Like she had people to go against her. Like she had somebody, because every superhero, the reason why the superhero is so great is because you have people trying to stop them from doing it and they got to overcome. That's the story. You had South Carolina and Don Staley, modern dynasty. Gino and UConn, they're still looming. Then you had little old Caitlin Clark out here. She's out here with Iowa in middle America. Oh, shucks crowd. And that ain't exactly a women's basketball powerhouse. It was literally David versus Goliath energy. So that brings up the third point, which is the underdog versus the hero and the villain stories. They are always great. And the people love a good underdog. And Clark gave us that every single March because she wasn't just hooping, she was carrying a program to back-to-back title games against heavyweights. And she was outmanned every single time, but she gave it a good damn fight. That's what people love to see. It's the stories that are even bigger than the moments. And when people have what's point number four, iconic moments. The girl had, the woman, excuse me, had 40-point games, trash talk, big stage buzzer beaters, big stage buzzer beaters, because she wasn't just there. She was writing history. She was a part of history. And then the fifth point is, yes, race and culture identity did play a role. Let's be real here. Her image did help her connect with certain parts of America. A white girl playing for Iowa, humble swagger, in a time of racial and political division, it hit different. And yes, she did have fans from everywhere, from barbershops to gyms, twitted, redder, black, Latino, white. She had a universal game. I loved watching the girl play. Now, back to Portnoy's tweet, though, because Paige Bueckers was great at UConn. She was talented, well spoken, she was marketable, but she ain't Caitlin Clark and she ain't Juju either. But the question is why? It ain't because she's not very talented. It's because she did not have the March Madness moments. She didn't have a rival. She did not have any of those things. She didn't have a villain going against her. She was at a powerhouse in UConn. They're expected to win the national championship there. An underdog edge just, it ain't there. So it's not about her being white. It's also about the captured moment because you had Paige Bueckers miss multiple seasons worth of injuries. So she didn't even have that equity built up with fans to watch her play. They were just like, oh my God, it's cool that she's healthy now. So what's the takeaway from all this? Is that Caitlin Clark didn't become a superstar just because of race. She became the face of college basketball and women's basketball because she had game, she had storylines, she had villains or whatever villains, because obviously Angel Reese is not a villain, but people and the machine trying to stop her, and perfect timing with the ESPN contract. Like she literally walked through the fire and put Iowa on her back. And then this year, Juju Watkins was right there to pick up the torch. And if not for that injury tearing her ACL, we might have had a whole new record-breaking final. Juju was on pace to break Caitlin Clark's all-time scoring record. So what do you think? Was it all about Clark? Did Juju get robbed of her moment? And was Dave Portnoy out of pocket or asking the right type of question? Drop your take in the comments. If you're watching it on X, Twitter, wherever, head over to the YouTube channel, Unafraid Show. Like, subscribe if you're unafraid to speak the truth, and we'll catch you on the next one. Peace out.